Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Superman and Lois Season 3, and this is going to be my review for the penultimate episode of this season, the second last one, that otherwise being episode 12, otherwise entitled Injustice, and of course, spoiler alert for everything that's going to be happening in this episode. Of course, we know Lex Luthor is coming in, so there's a lot to talk about, and the ending for the episode sets up one gnarly finale, which I cannot wait to watch next week. But of course, if you have watched the episode, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts on the episode, what you love, what you hate, favorite moments of the episode, and any theories and predictions moving into next week's finale. Let me know in the comment section down below. Always curious to read them. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and you enjoyed the episode and just want to show support, drop a like on the video. It takes 2 seconds. So we had a week off between last episode and this episode, so it feels like it was a while ago. But last episode sort of ended the Bruno Mannheim Anamata Pia storyline. So Pia dies due to the overloading of her powers pretty much. And Bruno does take the fall for all the actions. We didn't see him in this episode. I thought there might have been a case where we might have seen something with him. But I guess they thought, no, we're just tied up last episode. But of course, due to Bruno taking the fall here for the actions, all those years in the past, that clears Lex Luthor. So, yeah, someone's getting out of prison. But overall, this episode was one hell of a way to debut Lex Luthor. I wasn't too sure how much of the episode he was going to be in. I thought, okay, maybe he'll be in the back half. He's pretty much in from beginning to end in different ways, whether it's flashbacks, present day, stuff like that. And you get to see like a bit of a storyline with him, though there's not a ridiculous amount of dialogue with him at the same time. It's not like he sits there and has like a 1-minute monologue or something in prison. We just see that prison definitely changed him, but in a way that he sort of dictated it the same way. And, it was a 17-year journey. So we only see the first, I guess, week maybe of him being in prison. We don't know what happened for the other 16 years and 51 weeks or whatever it would have been. So, yeah, I thought it was a pretty interesting thing with the prison stuff at the very least. And then when he gets out, he's ruthless. That's the best way to put it. We did hear going into it that he's going to be a bit more of a, more physical, but just ruthless and darker Lex Luthor. And they definitely show that. And what they set up at the end of this episode leading into the finale has me curious about how he's going to manipulate things and where it's going to lead into season 4. Because you might be wondering, he's only in 2 episodes of this season. Yeah, but he's going to be the main villain in season 4, so there's much more to come. But yeah, I love this episode, and I can't wait to see where the finale goes after this one. But into the breakdown of the episode, because there's a decent amount to talk about. But we do open with Lois coming to terms with herself post-surgery, which, makes sense because, she had surgery last episode and it went successfully, so makes sense they deal with it at the beginning of this episode as well. But this also leads into coming to terms with what is coming now, that Lex has been proven innocent of what he's been put in prison for, and that he's on his way out. And this is when we do get that opening Lex Luthor scene. He's looking much different than what we see on the newspaper. Bald head, grayer beard, everything like that. And we had that metal, like the whatever it is, like the heavy guitar. And I don't know if that's his theme, because it plays a couple of times throughout the episode, but also I don't know if it's just some standard heavy guitar or something. If that's his theme, that's one of the most badass themes I think we've had ever for a villain. In regards to just really showing you what this villain means. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now we do have Jordan's powers being the topic of discussion at Smallville High, but also in the journalism world outside of Smallville as well, because a lead about this new person with powers, not Superman, but potentially a teenagers going around, and the Daily Planet has the sniff on it. So the Daily Planet's potentially going to report on it, and Lois is being dragged into the discussion around it and whether she knows anything, everything like that. But it doesn't really help that Jordan is bragging about it pretty much. Not saying, I'm the Superboy, blah, 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 but saying whoever this is, he's a hero, look what he's doing. So he's hyping himself up in the third person pretty much. Or the second person. Anyway, whichever way it would be. And due to this, Sarah's just getting a bit come on, just pissing her off a bit, which I can understand. Now, we do see in the present day that Lex is discharged from Stryker's prison, not Stryker's Island, because he does a lot of walking in this episode. So if it was on an island, he'd be doing a lot of swimming instead. So it's Stryker's prison. But as that's happening, we do get flashbacks to when he was originally being imprisoned 17 years ago, walking into prison for the first time, with Lois outside spectating on it in her Daily Planet mode, hat and all. So Lois was one of the last faces he saw from the outside world before he went in. So that would have been on his mind for, those almost 2 decades inside those prison walls. because he knew he was innocent going in, and Lois was the one that sort of like, you know, published all this stuff that helped him get in prison and stuff like that. And we do see that Lex has a photo of, it is his daughter. I don't know if it's meant to be Lena Luthor, because in the comics he does have like Lena Luthor as a daughter. So they don't name her. It's just that, you know, it's his daughter. She's like a teenager back then when he went in. So now she'd be in her like early 30s. I think he said she was 14 when he went into prison. So it's been 17 years. So we should assume she's either 30, 31, something like that. So, and apparently she's not talking to him, which we learn later on. But that's for another altercation later in the episode, which was a pretty damn good scene, which we'll talk about. But yeah, you can see that Lex is, even like his facial expressions, like when he went into prison, then when he comes out, you can see he's a changed man. So who knows, you know, apparently he was the devil before he before he even went in. What the hell is he now? Like, is he, like, what do you even call him now? Like, that's just, that's a question that will probably be answered over the next, week or so when the finale hits. And of course, most of season 4. Now, we do see the after effects of Kyle learning about Clark's secret, you know, him being Superman, with him now being like, you know, buddy, best friends with Jonathan. But I must say, losing your crap over a sandwich missing was silly. Like, that guy was like, hey, it's just a sandwich. Look, Bazumba's, this fictional restaurant, is apparently like God's land, God's country when it comes to like, some barbecue food and stuff like that. So fair enough, you might be a bit upset, but like losing your crap over a sandwich, come on, like seriously, like whatever. But anyway, but we do see Clark ask Kyle to not treat him differently, you know, which sort of like, you know, sort of makes Kyle a bit uneasy and stuff like that. But I think it was the right thing for Clark to do just for his son's sake. Now, as I was saying before, Lex Luthor does a lot of walking in this episode. He definitely got his steps in after being locked up for a while. So it looks like Lex Luthor was like walking across the country. And we do see more flashbacks with him like in his early days in prison. Like I guess like the first week, roughly, something like that, where he tries to build a foundation of what he's going to build on. And some fellow inmates make an enemy with him early on, which Lex gets payback on pretty quickly. Now, Clark and Lois pretty much ground Jordan, I guess you could say, from being Superboy due to his carelessness. And it's not that he necessarily shouldn't be using them, because he did save 3 lives using them, but it's the way he's going about using them and then sort of taking the fanfare along with it and just not being careful around the situations to try and stay anonymous. He doesn't want to be anonymous. He wants to know people to know, like, yo, I'm the one saving you. Look, I'm this hero. I'm not Superman. I'm going to take credit for what I'm doing. So his suit is confiscated by his grandfather and, you know, taken away. And I can see people just not liking Jordan come the end of this episode, because the scene we'll talk about in a bit, oh my God, you just wanted to slap him down. You're like, oh, just listen to your parents, for God's sake. But anyway, Lex Luthor in flashbacks is like slowly. I don't even want to say slowly. He does it pretty quickly, but he just takes control of Stryker's prison by threatening the warden, by showing how much control he has on the outside and threatening the warden's family. Like, the warden is just scared of Lex. Lex doesn't play games. He just makes the rules. You play his game. So that's made pretty evident early on with this, and the warden understands that pretty quickly. With us seeing the immediate aftermath with the inmates that, you know, ganged up on him, they're dealt with by the prison officers, and they just become Lex Luthor's, like, employees. He's the warden. He's the warden of this prison, no one else, not this Warden Ellis. He's the face of the prison. Lex is the actual one in control. Now, Lois is told that Lex was released earlier in the day, and not at the time the press was told, which we knew because the warden had set that up. And Lois is like not wanting to shy away from this due to her being the reason he was put away. And we know that Lex is walking. He's walking somewhere. He doesn't look like he is walking to Metropolis like the news reports are saying. And I did like how throughout the episode, you can see a storm brewing. Like, even Lex looks up and stuff throughout the episode. You can see like the clouds getting darker and stuff. And then we see that a tornado warning is issued for Smallville, with tornadoes forming around the city or around the town. But I did like that. Like, the closer Lex was getting, the bigger the storm was getting, and then just before he comes, this tornado hits. I thought that was really, really well done. But Superman does arrive to deal with the tornado that is going pretty close to General Lane. I think they reference Man of Steel, but also show how silly that Man of Steel scene was when Jonathan Kent died. Because it was like, I think in Man of Steel, the tornado happens and they go onto a bridge, and then like, was it Jonathan Kent, like Superman's dad or Clark's dad, just sort of gets taken by the tornado. I think it was them poking fun of it, but also being a bit of a reference there. I'm not too sure. But anyway, Jordan also arrives and gets the suit from his granddad's car, because it was obviously in there. He was the one that confiscated it from before. and he teams up with his dad to take down the tornado. Now, Superman isn't just happy because he could have done it by himself. He's probably done taking down tornadoes before, so he didn't really need Jordan's help, but Jordan couldn't help himself. And after the fact, Jordan should have just flown away. Should have just gone, okay, well, I probably wasn't meant to be here. I helped what I could. Let me go back home. But he lands and is swamped by the civilians that were saved and basks in that fanfare. And at first, I thought maybe he was like, oh, I need to get away. But he takes in. He's like, I love this. I'm this celebrity. It concerns his grandfather. His grandfather's giving him a bit of a dirty, concerning look. And his father, Superman, just looks peed off. He's like, yo, what the hell have I just had to go at you before? And just like, I was just sitting there, I'm like, Jordan, mate, come on. Like, what are you doing? And then when we get back to Metropolis, Jordan just doesn't think he has done anything wrong. And I guess the worst thing is that he just doesn't care. And this is dangerous. Like, he's this guy that's got this like ego with the powers and stuff like that. And you just don't, he's going to keep developing and developing even more. And if they can't get him under control, like, what are they going to do? Like, what do you do? Like, you end up with like an evil Superman or just a reckless Superman situation. Like, Clark is very careful with what he does and thinks things over. Jordan is the opposite. And if Jordan doesn't mature, we've got an issue at our hands. Now, I don't know if that's going to be dealt with this season or it's something for season 4, but it's going to be very interesting because, I mean, there's being stubborn and then there's being super stubborn, and that's what Jordan is. And he's just gloating in the attention that he's getting on social media. He's loving it. They're even labeling him Superboy. I think that's the first time they've actually used that term, I think. Or maybe they did it last season with the Bizarro Jonathan, I think. But I don't know if Jordan's been labeled that yet. So that's on social media now. So I guess we've got our official Superboy naming for Jordan. Now, Lois and Clark are looking to see if Lex made it to Metropolis. It's been this like on the news, like they're expecting him to get the Lex Corp and stuff. Or is it Lex Corp or Luthor Corp? I can't remember which one it is on the show. I think it's Lex Corp. But anyway, Clark hears footsteps and it's outside. So Lex has made it somewhere and it's outside the Kent's front door. And Lex is looking to catch up on things that have happened while he was locked up. And he's also looking for an apology, but not just words, and he gets pretty angry. He wants Lois to retire from journalism, and I don't think that's going to happen. And also, Lois isn't the only one that Lex is seeking an apology from. Superman as well. So that means we should be getting a Superman and Lex confrontation next episode, and I can't wait to see what Lex has to say to Superman. Now, I was wondering when Clark faced up to Lex, when he was telling him to get away, whether he was going to go, like Lex was going to notice he was Superman. And I do wonder if this Lex knows that Clark is Superman. Because that's always been this thing that Lex would know. And I do wonder if that's something that might happen. That's a wait and see, obviously. That's a wait and see. But we do get some more flashbacks with Stryker's prison, or more like Lex's prison, and just complete control. He's got 100% control in it. He's even using one of the inmates as a chair. Doesn't even want to get like a comfortable throne or anything. Just like, oh, I'll use one of the inmates, make them feel as little as possible. But as the episode ends, we do see Lex heading to Metropolis to pick up where Bruno Mannheim left off, with him and his right-hand man, Otis. I don't know if it's meant to be Otis Graves. It said Grisham. I'm assuming it's meant to be Otis Graves, because why would his name be Otis? But anyway, I think it's meant to be Otis Graves. And they're heading into the subway station that PM messed up last episode, where, of course, Bruno was conducting all of his experiments. And I wasn't too sure who we were going to see, but we see Bizarro. I wasn't too sure if it was going to be Henry Miller, because he was in that tank. So that might still be there. That's a wait and see. But it's all dark. There's no electricity down there, so they're using flashlights. And we see Bizarro, and it's disgusting. He's eating rats and catching them. Like, it just looks completely zombified. Did last episode, but now he looks like full-on zombies walking around, with him jumping and leaping at Lex's right-hand man, Otis, and at least appearing to eat him. You hear screams and stuff like that. I am so interested to see what happens. Because we knew that there's a big fight in the finale. We saw said photos of it. I don't know if this Bizarro is going to like change over time. We don't know if it's meant to be a doomsday situation or whatever it is. But he is messed up. Like, he is completely messed up. And is he like a zombie where other people get infected? Or is it just this thing where like he eats people and eats flesh and stuff like that? I can't wait to see what happens. As I said, it's gnarly, it looks disgusting, and I can't wait to see what Superman's reaction to that is next episode. He's like, didn't you die, Bizarro? What the hell is going on here? Now you're like some weird flesh-eating zombie. This is really weird. But yeah, I can't wait to see next week's finale. It should be really, really cool, because I love this episode. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome. Could drop a like and show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts on this episode. What you love, what you hate, any theories moving into next episode. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking and your favorite moments. Let me know in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.